Back when I was a kid, we grew up in southern Mexico, and I would leave the house. We lived right at the very edge of the town, and you cross the street and you were in the jungle, and you'd go about 50 yards beyond, and you had no idea that you were near a town. It was just total jungle. It was wonderful. But a lot of times I would go out there, and I wouldn't take any food. I didn't need to, because there was plenty to pick. And one of my favorite things was to pick a mango. And at the time, I'd reach up, grab a mango, and I'd be happy. But it always seemed to me, I remember this on many occasions, I could get one, but there would be that one up above that was just perfect. It was just rounder, it was more colorful, it was juicier, and it was out of reach. And I didn't have a ladder with me. I was one of those kids that went running out into the jungle and didn't carry a ladder. I mean, just not very well prepared. But anyway, but I remember that feeling of, well, something I want, I just can't quite get it. Now, I had a mango, don't get me wrong, but still, it wasn't that one. Later on, to this time, I started going to other churches, and started out with one in San Antonio, St. Luke's Episcopal Church. That was a little bit less than voluntary. I was in a military school, and we were marched to the church every Wednesday for a chapel service, and we had chapel services every morning. I'm not sure that did that much of a benefit to us. They were trying to straighten us out, but those efforts were maybe not so successful. But when I was there was still that feeling. Yes, I was in church, but I wasn't quite getting there. I wasn't getting the mango. And then I came to Houston, and I started going to another church here. Lovely church, doing great works, doing good stuff, a fairly large church. Went there for many years, but it still didn't quite connect. I just wasn't quite there. So now let's talk a little bit about grace. What is grace? Grace is not Scott Painter. It's not Leah Wise. It's you. It really is. All of you, with your ideas, your hopes, your inspirations, your worries, all the different parts and pieces that come into play, you make grace. Everybody provides guidance, but it's you that are the heart and soul and the thing of what Grace Church is. Now, Scott mentioned I serve on the vestry, and let me explain what the vestry does. Vestry basically is a group of volunteers. We were nominated, and you all elected us to serve. And what we do is we get together and we try to guide, manage, and keep watch over what Grace is. Because there's a lot that needs to happen at Grace. And we have to check what we have for the resources. The resources are, obviously, money and people. And as we do that, we're in the same situation that y'all are in as you plan your own personal experiences. You either live in a house or an apartment, you have a monthly ongoing expense, and you have things that you have to do. You have to pay for the electricity, you have to pay for the gas or the water, and I mean all these things. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence here, stuff you already know. And also you have to do things physically, clean up the house, mow the lawn, unless you can get Scott to do it for you.
You have to compensate me handsomely.
But, you know, these are things that have to happen. So when we as the vestry are looking in our monthly meetings, we're looking at where we are in the church, we try to figure out, well, what do we have to work with? And what are we going to have to work with? Because That's the part of the program that comes into play as we're trying to plan ongoing things. And the reason we're asking for pledges primarily is we need your help. We need your help. Now, please understand, a pledge, if we say, here's a pledge, it's not like we're saying, give us more money. We're not trying to do that at all. We just want to know that if you're going to be able to give, I don't know, $20 a month, we'd like to know that that's what we're going to do so that we can think about what program we might start. And let me give you one small example. Some time ago, we had a program called Grace to Go. A group of very, very devoted, loving volunteers got together, and they'd be out here on the street, and folks would be coming by, they'd get a cup of coffee, and they'd get a prayer, and then go on to work. Now, sometimes people say, well, that's not a big deal. For a lot of people, it was a huge deal. It might have been the prayer that they got before they went into a really tough meeting. It might have been the prayer they got before they started trying to do something, and maybe that little spark actually put them over the top. Well, that program was good, and so there was the people that got into it pledged their time to be out here, make the coffee, and be out here at 7 o'clock in the morning, standing on the side and offering prayers and coffee. But there was the other factor, is that we had to know, well, we got to buy the coffee. And we had to know that we would have the funds available to buy the coffee, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to just belabor that. So in asking for a pledge, the whole thing is this: please help us know what we can work with. That's really what we're looking for. And as Scott said, a pledge can either be financial or it can be your time. But with that, then all you're doing is you're helping us do our job of helping you. So that's really what it amounts to. Grace is an amazing place, an amazing bunch of folks. And the more you look around and get to know them, you'll understand more and more and more. I'm still learning. I've been coming here for years, and I'm still continually learning and finding out new stuff that I didn't know about. So anyway, bless you all.